middle-aged guy, with a graying caterpillar of a mustache and tired eyes. Whatever he's been smoking, I didn't find any of it on him. My shift is just about over, and I have no desire to spend another hour processing the kid over a stupid parking lot scuffle. I've got 3 boys of my own. He's being a hard-ass now, but he cried in the squad car and asked me to bring him here. So this is how it works. I can take him to the station and write him up for a handful of misdemeanors, or you can let him in and promise me that it will never happen again. Russ just stares sullenly at me, like this is all my fault. It will never happen again, I say. Okay then. The cop releases Russ, who whips his arm away violently and then bolts into the house and up the stairs to his room, shooting me a look of unrefined hatred that pierces the blubber of my drunken stupor like a harpoon. Thank you, officer, I say to the cop. He's really a good kid. He's just had a tough year. Just so you know, the cop says, scratching his chin thoughtfully, this isn't the first time he's been in trouble. What kind of trouble? The cop shrugs. The usual stuff. Fighting mostly. Some vandalism. And he's obviously no stranger to the weed. I don't know your deal here, but someone needs to start enforcing a curfew and maybe get him some counseling. The kid is headed for trouble. I'll talk to his father, I say. Next time, he gets booked. I understand. Thanks again. The cop gives me a last skeptical look, and I can see myself through his eyes, bedraggled, unshaven, bloodshot, and half-crocked. I'd be skeptical too. I'm sorry about your wife, he says. Yeah, I say, closing the door behind him. You and me both. Upstairs, Russ has crawled under the covers in the darkness of what used to be his room. Everything is just as he left it, because, as with just about every other room in the house, I haven't disturbed anything in the year since Haley died. The house is like a freeze-framed picture of the life we once had, snapped in the instant before it was obliterated. I stand backlit in the hallway, my shadow falling on the bends and folds of his comforter, as I try to come up with something to say to this strange, angry boy to whom I'm supposed to somehow feel connected. I can hear you breathing, he says without lifting his face off the pillow. Sorry, I say, stepping into the room. So what was the fight about? Nothing. These assholes just started talking shit to us. They go to your school? Nah, they were older guys. I guess it's hard to put up too much of a fight when you're stoned. Right. He rolls over and lifts his head to sneer at me. Do you really feel like you're the best person to give me a lecture on the evils of drugs, Captain Jack? I sigh. Yeah, I didn't think so, he says, rolling back onto his pillow and burrowing his face into his arms. Look, it's been a long fucking night, so if you don't mind. I lost her too, Russ, I say. He makes a sound into his arms that might be a derisive snort or a smothered sob. I can't quite tell. Just close the door on your way out, he whispers. You never know when you're going to die, but maybe something in you does, some cellular consciousness that's aware of the cosmic countdown and starts making plans, because on the last night of her life, Haley surprised me by wearing a blood-red dress, cut low and tight in all the right spots. It was almost as if she knew what was coming, knew that this would be our last night together, and she was determined to keep herself from fading too quickly into the washed-out colors of memory. I couldn't stop looking at her, my eyes dwelling for longer than usual on the familiar curves and contours of her body, still lithe and toned after one child in almost 40 years, on the soft pockets of her exposed clavicles, the satiny white surface of her skin, and I wanted her in exactly the way you generally don't want someone you've been sleeping with for almost 3 years. I found myself considering the practical implications of sneaking away from the table to meet in the bathroom for a quickie, pictured us in the confines of the locked bathroom, chuckling at our audacity between deep kisses as I pressed her up against the wall, the red dress pulled up over her waist, her smooth bare legs wrapped around me, pulling me into her. That's what happens when you spend enough years living on your own with premium cable. But even as the mental image aroused me to the point of discomfort beneath the table, I knew it wasn't going to happen. For one thing, there was no way for both of us to slip away inconspicuously. For another, I was 28, and Haley was almost 40, and while I like to think that our sex life was good,